Years ago, the Public Justice Center decided to look into what needs people were having at the Baltimore City Detention Center. It's a very large urban pretrial facility. About 40,000 people cycle through every year. So it's, and there weren't any legal services providing services to folks there because in the 90s, Congress prohibited the Legal Aid Bureau from representing prisoners. And so we'd heard just a lot, I think, through word of mouth that it was problematic and wanted to go find out what was going on. And among the many problems, one was access to health care and just decrepit facilities. You know, people would perhaps be taking medication for chronic illness before they were arrested, like asthma or diabetes or epilepsy or HIV, and they weren't getting the medications that they needed in a timely manner or sometimes at all once they were in the jail. And the average length of stay is, you know, a month or so, but there are some people who are there perhaps for a year or more waiting trial. So that can be pretty significant if you're having all this difficulty with access to care. And some people are lucky, they, you know, experience this but are ultimately fine, and some people aren't so lucky. And there definitely have been deaths over there. Some recent ones this year that we're aware of. Somebody had type 1 diabetes, childhood diabetes, and died from a preventable, you know, illness just from lack of care. So we thought, okay, let's see what we can do about that, and wanted to employ a number of different strategies. Thinking that this was such an intractable problem, it was probably going to take more than one solution. So we are working with the American Civil Liberties Union on a class action lawsuit against the state of Maryland, because Maryland took over running the jail from the city decades ago. So that's in court now and is recently settled, although it will take some while, I think, to see the changes take effect. It's not officially finalized in the courts until everybody in the class has a chance to comment on the settlement agreement. But we also wanted to do some public education, thinking that, you know, if we could alert people to what's going on in there. I think a lot of people, unless you personally have a friend or family member, just don't know what it's like to be held in a prison, or in this case a pretrial detention facility. So we're talking about people who haven't even been convicted of anything, but who are lacking access to medical care, are in a very violent institution, and are experiencing some pretty, just for lack of a better word, gross surroundings. You know, lots of rodent and insect infestation, and the women are experiencing a lot of flooding for a while, sometimes with sewage materials, that sort of thing. No access to laundry services. There's a high risk of staph infection in any institutional environment, and particularly one like this, where it's very dirty, the cleaning products are inadequate, and people are sometimes asked to share soap. So we also, you know, so we wanted to educate the public. We made a short film about what was going on in there, and took it to community groups, but also to legislators and policymakers. We've, through the years, tried to do some work to make sure that there was enough money in the budget to fund inmate health care, because certainly if they don't even have the right amount of staffing, it's not going to happen. And we also have been working with individuals one-on-one, and I think Tanisha can take it from there.
For what we do for our individuals, we have, well, it's a cooperative effort. We have a group of volunteers from different universities in the area, as well as our legal advocates and our attorneys that go inside of the jail and interview detainees about some of the specific issues that they're having. We also educate them on what they can do to make their experience there better, what kinds of things are put in place that the jail is supposed to adhere to, what kind of procedures they have, letting them know what kinds of things are actually happening there so that they're able to advocate on their own behalf, so that they're able to better understand their situation, and then so that in the future they are better able to help people that are in their situation like them. It's really cool because we have the ability to get knee deep into an issue that to the greater public is pretty much invisible. Purposefully, obviously it's a detainment facility, but some of the issues there are deplorable, and the public doesn't necessarily know about it. And we're trying to communicate the issue so that the public not only knows about it, but so that they understand and care. These are people that are inside of there, and we're just trying to, like we do with most things at the Public Justice Center, hit it from, a few different angles. So we are, inside of the jail trying to educate the people in there so that they can help themselves and others in their situation. And then we're also, we have the college students who, it's great working with college students because they have this vigor that, they're just so excited and so into the work, and they just, when they find out what's happening, they get, just angry. And, I think that anger helps, them to better do the work. And it's awesome to have that, and I think that definitely helps with the public image of what's happening there. These college students go back and they tell people, and that's pretty much the way we've advertised for our volunteers. It's pretty much word of mouth. So it's a pretty awesome opportunity for our college students.
And say what they do when they go in.
The student volunteers that we have, they come in and we debrief them about what certain people are going through. Someone has diabetes, hypertension, and HIV. They're not getting their medications, and they go in, they interview the client, and then they come back. And a lot of times our college students are law students or med students, and so then we do some research into what's happening, and then we are able to advocate on that.